All right, so today's project is to change out the mufflers on my Royal Star. So this is a 2006 Royal Star Tour Deluxe, and I'm going to swap the OEM mufflers out for some OEM Harley mufflers. So hopefully I can get this on video and get a good how-to going. All right, here's everything that I think I'm going to need for the swap. So I pulled two of these mufflers. They're Harley OEM mufflers. They came off of an '08 Road Glide. I'm going with the Harley route because I want something a little deeper, but I don't want it to be super loud. So all the videos I've seen, these aren't supposed to be super loud, but they're still supposed to sound pretty good. So that's kind of why I went with those. Got them cheap off, Facebook Marketplace. I think all in with all of the hardware and everything I had to buy, I think I'm at like 120 bucks or 140 bucks total for all of these parts. So got the mufflers for like 70 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. I had to order these brackets. These brackets come from Shark Road. They're Shark Road brackets specific to the Royal Star Venture and the Royal Star Tour Deluxe. They should match with the OEM bracket on the motorcycle frame, and then they'll line up with these holes here. I also have muffler clamps, and then the Shark Road brackets did not come with hardware, so I went to Lowe's and I pulled some bolts and some washers. Harley uses a 5/16 bolt, and I went with a 3/4 inch with some washers to do some leveling if I have to level it or if I have to space it out to make it sit flat. I got some washers to do that. I also have the number 4mm Allen for the saddlebags. You have a 12mm and a 14mm socket ratchet to get the exhaust or to get the muffler off of the pipe. And then I've got the pipe expander that I'm probably going to need to get these mufflers on. So hopefully it doesn't take too long, and we'll see how they look. All right, so before we get down to the mufflers, we got to take the bags off both sides. We've got 4 of these Allen head screws in here. It's a number 4 metric Allen. We're going to go ahead and just pull those bolts out and remove the bag. All right, once the bag is off this side, you're going to loosen up the muffler clamp. So it's underneath this kind of housing here, and it's a number 12 millimeter ratchet. So I'm going to pull that bolt, or loosen that bolt, before we move on to the next step. Once you loosen the muffler clamp, you move back to where the bag was, and there's the bracket. That bolt holds the exhaust or the muffler on. That's where the bracket's going to be. That is a 14mm head, so we're going to use a ratchet and pull that out next. All right, so after you've taken the exhaust off, this bolt here, this washer, you can use it to bolt the Shark Road's bracket on, so you can reuse it. But the nut that goes onto the back of the bolt is connected to the OEM muffler from Yamaha, and it's captured in the muffler itself. So it doesn't come off, the nut doesn't come off. So you'll have to either take this bolt with you to a hardware store and get a new lock nut for this piece, but you will reuse this bolt. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the outside diameter of the inset. I'm going to do the outside of this one. About 1.75. And then I'm going to measure that to the inside diameter of the muffler itself so that I know what to expand the internal size of the muffler so I can slide it on. So the edge is like right at 1.75, but we got to slide the muffler over this. And as you back this up with all the grime and stuff that's been on it, it looks like it's expanded to 1.79, 1.8. So I'm going to hit it with some steel wool, try and get as much of that stuff off the outside as I can, but it looks like I am going to have to widen the muffler, which I was hoping I didn't have to do, but it looks like I'm going to have to do it. All right, so back to this one. So measure the inside diameter of this. Oops. 0 it, maybe. roughly 1.755. And to get this all the way over, it's going to have to be right around 1.78, 1.79. So we're going to have to expand it. It's going to be no fun, but we got to do it. So first things first, we got to lube up all of this stuff. So just grease it like crazy. Don't want anything sticking. For me, I've got, it's actually like gun grease. So it's grease that I usually use to lube guns, but I figure, you know, stops hot metal from sticking, lets it slide easily, so should work, right? Is that kind of the idea? All right, got it lubed up, got it in there, and now I'm just going to start expanding. Now, the idea here is to expand it and then let it off, expand, let it off, expand, let it off. Don't just try and go for the right size right off the bat. I've seen a lot of videos where these things get stuck and it's gross and people break them. So we're going to try it. It's probably going to take a while. I'm going to measure a lot so that I don't overdo it. So we'll see. So expand. And then we'll let it off. And again. A little more. And then let it off. Just that little bit, just one on and off. You know, expand it to 1.766. We got a little ways to go, but as long as you do it slow and don't overdo it, I think you'll be all right. I got the new muffler on. I've got it slid on there. I had to widen the inlet pretty wide to get it on there. Got the muffler clamp sitting there, and then I've got the Shark Roads bracket, and I lined up the Shark Roads bracket with the Harley OEM, I guess, bolt holes. But it sits like this. I'm gonna go ahead and put all the bolts in, tighten it down, but that's one of them done. So it's all done, tightened down, got all the bolts in, got the muffler clamp in. I did set it so that there's a gap. I wanted a gap underneath that pipe, so in case it vibrates or rattles around, it doesn't hit this. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then hopefully, if it's all done good, we'll start her up. All right, I got them both on. I'm going to go ahead and, before I put the bags on, start it up, make sure it runs. Worst thing I could do is put everything back together and then have to tear it back apart. So we'll see how it sounds.